Have you ever stopped to think about how a massive company like Disney Plus Hotstar actually runs on the inside? I mean, we see the slick app, but behind the scenes, there are hundreds of internal tools and applications. And securing all of them? Well, that's a huge hidden challenge. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the absolutely brilliant platform they built to solve this digital chaos.
So let's just start with the big question right up front. How in the world do you secure hundreds of different apps and make it easy? Because if it's not easy, you know what happens. Your developers either get totally bogged down, or worse, they start looking for shortcuts. And shortcuts are never good for security. To really get a feel for the problem, picture this. Every single application is like a locked door in a giant building, but there's no master key. In fact, every door has a totally different lock, made by a different locksmith, and it needs its own special, unique key. That right there, that was the digital chaos they were living in. So yeah, let's take a walk through that maze. We're going to start with the before picture, which honestly is a masterclass in organized or maybe not so organized chaos. It was truly the Wild West of access control. You had some apps using Google for logins, others using Okta, and some using Disney's own internal system. Get this, some apps even had their very own custom username and password that you had to remember. And then once you were in an app, what you could actually do was a whole other story. Each team just kind of built their own permission system from scratch every single time. Now, as you can probably guess, a system like this wasn't just messy, it created 4 massive, throbbing headaches for pretty much everyone in the organization. First off, for the IT admins, it was a complete and total nightmare. Just try to imagine managing an employee's access when their accounts are scattered across a dozen different disconnected systems. It's almost impossible. Second, and this is a big one, you've got these huge blind spots for the security team. I mean, with no central system, how can you possibly have a clear picture of who is accessing what and when? You just can't. And third, think about the developers. This was such a massive drain on their time. Instead of building cool new features for their apps, engineers were stuck reinventing the wheel, building the same login and security code over and over and over again. And finally, the most critical headache of all of this chaos added up to some major, very real security risks. This wasn't just messy or inefficient, it was dangerous. And here's where the rubber really meets the road. With no central audit log, trying to investigate a security breach was a nightmare. Even worse, since the accounts weren't all linked, when an employee left the company, their access might still be active on some random internal app. A huge risk for data leaks. And for services to talk to each other, they were using simple hard-coded tokens, which is basically like leaving your password written on a sticky note. Okay, so how do you possibly fix something this broken? Well, you don't just patch the holes, you build a brand new system from the ground up. And that's where IAuth comes in, a platform designed to fix all of these problems with a beautifully simple 3-step process. The whole goal was to make security the easy choice for developers, and they absolutely nailed it. For any developer, getting their app onto this platform is just this simple. 1. You register your app in a central portal. 2. You add a few lines of code using their software kit, or SDK. And 3. You go back to the portal and set up who gets to do what. That is it. Seriously. And here's the real magic. This is the actual code a developer needs to write. That first line basically just says, hey, turn on the IAuth security engine. And the second line tells their application, apply the security to absolutely everything. That's it. All of that tangled chaos we just talked about, it gets replaced by just 2 lines of code. Incredible. Okay, so it's super simple to use, we get that. But what is going on under the hood that makes it so powerful? Let's pop the hood and take a look inside the IAuth engine. So first up, IAuth is what we call IDP-agnostic. Now, IDP just stands for identity provider, services like Google or Okta that prove you are who you say you are. Being agnostic just means IAuth doesn't care which one you use. It can plug into any of them, which is huge because it gives the company flexibility and means they're not locked into a single vendor forever. Next, you get this amazing centralized control. Every single app gets a powerful system called role-based access control, or RBAC. It's a fancy term for a simple idea. You can create roles like admin or viewer, and then give them permissions. But here's the really smart part. Each app gets its own separate authorization space. So the Auth platform gives you the toolbox, but the team that owns the app gets to decide exactly how they want to build their own custom roles and rules. And to fix that whole insecure, sticky note password problem, IAuth uses this really clever two-token system. For everyday operations, it uses short-term tokens that expire super quickly and rotate automatically. That way, if one ever leaks, the damage is minimal. But for emergencies, like if the IAuth system itself goes down, there's a permanent panic token that acts as a failsafe to keep everything running. It's the perfect blend of security and resilience. And remember that massive security blind spot we talked about? Well, Auth fixes that with something called transparent auditing. Every single security event, every login, every access attempt is automatically logged and sent to a central place where it's easy to search. And the best part for the developers? They don't have to write one single line of code to make it happen. It just works.
All right, so we've seen the chaos of the before times and the elegant solution that came after. But what was the final result? Let's look at how they went from total chaos to total control. You know, the proof is always in the pudding. Over 50 different applications across Disney Plus Hotstar got integrated with Auth. And this wasn't something that was forced on people. Developers eagerly adopted it because it made their lives so much easier and their applications way more secure.
This quote from the team just says it all, doesn't it? Their whole mission was to give every app top-tier AAA security, that's authentication, authorization, and auditing, without forcing every developer to become a security expert. And that is exactly what they pulled off. So let's talk about the final payoff, because it is huge. Security went from a complex mess to something simple. Developer productivity went through the roof. The company's overall security posture got a massive upgrade. And, maybe most importantly, they built the foundation for the future of security, a model called Zero Trust, which basically means you trust nobody and verify every single request. IAuth makes that a reality. By taking this incredibly complex, fragmented problem and building one elegant, central platform, the IAuth team didn't just fix a headache, they created a real strategic advantage for the whole company. And it really makes you wonder, right? What other big, messy problems in our own organizations are just waiting for the right platform to come along and solve them?